What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to some more race reviews. We're reviewing the last World Cup in Loudenvielle over the weekend in France. What a weekend it was. I'm going to start off talking about the junior race because it was absolutely epic. Bode Burke is by far my new favourite rider to watch. He is someone that I haven't actually seen race before. American kid, he came out absolutely swinging and put down one of the fastest middle sections I think I've ever seen from anyone ever. On the edge the whole way, almost crashed like 3 times within like 4 corners, but held it together, pulled a heap of time back, and got the win. Notably, though, that Asa Vermette was actually 3 seconds up on his time at the second split, which I've then worked out was actually the fastest time up until that point. I think it was about 0.3 of a second fastest as Amaury Piron, who was the fastest up in that point in the elite, but Asa was still faster before he crashed, got back on his bike, and still managed to get a 5th place finish. So, the kids, like the depth of talent you see out of these kids, I'm so happy they're actually televising the junior race now, and I get to watch that, and everyone can kind of see where these kids are coming from. We've had so many races in the past where you get like your Thibaut de Pallas, your Troy Brosnans, all these guys that are so quick, and then you kind of don't see this progression from juniors to then elite. It's just they're suddenly there, and they're like when Jordan Williams obviously won his first elite race, you had a bit more of an idea of who they were when him and Jackson were racing. And yes, you can compare times from juniors, but it is different when you actually race against them. But to see these juniors that are having times that are in the top 5 or in the top 10, and you just know that someone like Asa could win a World Cup at 17, or maybe he's 18 now. I'm not 100% sure on that, but to see that the speed is there at such a young age and how much these kids are just all or nothing, it's exciting to watch. But Tyler Waite got second. He's been super consistent so far on GT, which is cool to see. Max Alran, he was in 3rd place, which has been consistent until his brother was in 4th, and then Asa rounded out the top 5. But super, super competitive racing in the junior categories. But I cannot overstate enough how much watching Bode come down. It reminded me of when Aaron Gwyn was racing and just dominating, and he had races like that at like Wyndham or Val de Sol or just anywhere where he just was just on the edge, but it just seemed so in control at the same time, even though it probably wasn't. But he definitely threw down. I don't think he expected to get the win. You can see, obviously, he was a bit nervous at the bottom, but so cool when you see these guys kind of come out of nowhere and can lay it down and can get a win and kind of can cement themselves. And it's just going to be super interesting to see through getting that win where his confidence goes and how he can be more consistent with that now and obviously build upon that and then lead that into the rest of the races this season. And then in the elite women's category, we had Gracey Hemstreet get her first win in the elite category. And I was thinking about this as well because obviously Jackson Goldstone won the elite men, and we'll get onto that a little bit further down the track, but Gracey won the elite women and Jackson won the elite men. Now obviously besides the fact they're both Canadian, I was thinking that Jackson is riding obviously under Steve Peat is managing the syndicate, and now Greg Minnaar is managing the Norco factory racing team. So to think about those two legends who were teammates, who were on the same team for so long, race, world champs, all that, are now running or managing teams where their riders are both winning on the same day. Like, there's got to be something special about that to go through a progression of your career from up-and-coming racer, World Cup winner, world champion, teammates. Petey was obviously managing when Greg was still racing, friends, managers, so now both managing and both having riders that are at the very, very, very top of the sport. Like, I just had a little moment thinking about that would just be such a cool experience to be able to say you've done this for so long and experienced so many highs in different, I guess, facets of that sport. So that's just something I had a little cool moment thinking about. But Vali Höll was in second, 3.1 seconds back. Like, Gracey absolutely just hosed everyone. I saw her run and how much she was attacking from top to bottom and just going for it. And I think when there is a track like this where there's not a whole lot of different line choice, it's pretty much who can just let off the brakes and just bomb into those corners as fast as possible, carry that speed, and obviously get the win by a large margin. Tahnee Seagrave was in third. She was 8.9 seconds back, which is that's wild. For her to come off the win last weekend and then have that much time put into it this weekend. Like, I love this sport, man. Like, I absolutely love this sport for just how dynamic the racing is and how one weekend you can be at the top. And then, not to say she's like fallen off, because obviously she's in third place now, but to go from a win to then almost 10 seconds back the weekend after is pretty wild to see where like the change can come within a couple weeks or a week. Week. I don't even know. And then in the elite men, I saw like, this is why I love the racing, is when you see like Loic Bruni won last weekend, Super Bruni did his thing, very standard. Like, you're like, is he just going to run away with this title now, get some momentum behind him, get the wins, and just everyone else is going to do damage control and have to try and catch up? Now, from getting the win this weekend, he was 15th place. And he was 5.7 seconds back. So to go from hosing everyone to then 15th, and then you look at Jackson last weekend was nowhere. Obviously, it was coming back, first race kind of back, and then obviously being a smaller rider trying to carry momentum in the mud, it doesn't work as well. But then to come back and beat Marie by 1.5 seconds, it's just like, you can't ever tell what's going to happen. You had a wet race, you get a dry race, you get a fast track, you get a technical track. It just, the level of riding is so big now that I would say that anyone within the top 20, possibly top 30, pretty much can win a World Cup. Like, you had Tohoto, who was actually, I think, fastest, or like it might have been fastest or second, up until the second split, and then he had a crash down the bottom. Like, if he held it together, he could have won. Like, easily had the speed. He's one of those riders that kind of can throw it all down. He's got to work on his consistency, but as someone that just has all-out speed, and on the right day, he can just lay down a run that can make everyone go, what? Like, where did that come from? So I think he's definitely one to look out for. It's cool to see Aaron Gwynn came back. He was in 19th, 7 seconds back. It's crazy, man, like, looking how stacked the field is now and how tight the times are for everyone in that top pointy end. Yeah, it's wild. I was a bit surprised with Andreas Kobe. He was 12th. I thought he would have come out a bit more swinging. I know he's good in these kind of dry conditions and likes a fast track. He's a big, powerful rider, so I was a bit interested with that. Joe Berryden, though, did really well in 11th. Was stoked with that. Ollie's Wall laid it down, got a top 10, backing up that 6th place qualifier. That's always hard, especially when you know you're riding well and you have that extra bit of pressure. Some people crumble, some people love it, but it's cool to see Ollie staying consistent and getting 9th there. Where do we go? Loris Vergier. I was a bit surprised with that as well. I think he's, I don't know, I don't want to say he's got the curse of the rainbow stripes, but I feel like whenever anyone gets the stripes, they can go either way. They can either perform, like when Reece Wilson got them, he completely leveled up his riding. Like, it fully changed how he showed up, and I think it changed how he saw himself. And so much of this sport comes down to how we see ourselves. Do we see ourselves as the man? Do we see ourselves as the guy that can go and win this race? Do we see ourselves as the person that can pull that gap? Do we see ourselves as the person that can show up every weekend and be the guy? And that's what happened when Reece got the jersey. He just saw himself as, I'm the world champion, I'm going to start acting like it, and the results came. The amazing run like in Leger, when I think all hope was lost, and he had a very, I'm going to say, Sam Hill-like run where I think everyone thought the fat lady was singing and he kind of shut her up for a little bit. And even though his run ended in him crashing, I think there's something in the fact when you can ride your bike as hard as you possibly can against all odds of you doing well. It kind of throws out this idea of anything to do with the results and everything to do with the sheer willpower you have to perform. Because really, at the end of the day, that's all you want to see. You want to see someone throw everything they have at this run. Now, where that comes up on a result sheet, who cares? If you threw everything you had at it and believed that you could do something that I think many other people in that same time frame thought was impossible, like, that's what motivates people. That's what people remember. That's why people remember Sam Hill's Chambéry run. Because I heard someone describe what is a miracle. A miracle is when something seems impossible and it happens anyway. So I think in those moments when people see this happening, they think it's almost a miracle because it's not supposed to happen. It shouldn't happen. It's impossible. And even if you don't quite get there, the fact that it makes you think that way, that something that you thought was impossible is suddenly, for a brief moment, seems very doable. I think it makes you question your own, I guess, limiting beliefs of yourself and others. I think once you realize, when you see people achieve things that you thought were not humanly possible, it makes you go back into yourself and go, well, what is possible if this is? And I think that's why those runs get so much hype and excitement around them, because it shows you that never give up, ever. No matter how much the odds are stacked against you, just show up and try. And no matter where you land on that result sheet, it doesn't matter as long as you gave it everything you had. So that's a bit of a tangent off Loris wearing the jersey, but I feel like maybe a little bit of pressure in the opposite way, where when you do feel like you have to be the man, it adds that little bit more and maybe makes you ride a little bit tighter. I know Loris is a very under-the-radar kind of guy that doesn't like to be flashy and out there and just kind of gets the job done. So rainbow stripes do put more eyes on you, so I don't know if that's affecting him at all, but he was in 7th. Still a solid result, obviously, and not even that far back, but I'm just waiting for him to come out and really lay it down. I was impressed with Ryan Pinkerton. He laid it down all weekend. He was in 6th place, 3.8 seconds back. Lucas Shaw, Mr. Consistent, was in 5th. Can we bring back the 5-person podium? I'm just saying, I just think the 3, it looks shit. Put Luca on the podium. And then I think this was also one of the rides of the whole weekend. I'm going to butcher his last name, but Nathan Ponvinani, probably wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. He just looked like he had the absolute time. I love when you see someone go fast, but it looks like they're enjoying every part of it. Like doing whips, scraping corners, just going hard. Now that guy got 4th place, Nathan, doesn't get us down on the podium. Watch his run back. Tell me that guy does not deserve to stand on a World Cup podium for that performance that he just did. I'm going to harp on about this for either. I'll start another petition. I'll get some signatures going. We're getting the 5-person podium back because this sucks. But yeah, I think that was one of the runs of the weekend. Jordan Williams, he was in 3rd place with 3:16, 2.9 seconds back, which is cool to see him coming back, building some strength. He's obviously a guy that has always been consistent, but has had some bad luck in the past, so it's cool to see him back up there. And then Amaury Piron into 2nd place with a 3:14, 1.5 back. Now, it's funny watching this because you kind of know that Amaury's going to start strong. It's a physical track at the top, body weight, momentum, just physical strength. He was always going to pull some time back on Jackson. And then obviously towards the bottom, when you have less weight and you can kind of let yourself off the brakes and turn into a bit more of a luge, you see Jackson just... I always wanted to know what it would be like to be that light on a bike and not compress the suspension as much as like an Amaury or like a bigger rider. Because I know when I was racing in 2019, I actually got the lightest I've ever been when I was racing. I think I was 81, 82 kilos. And I remember I could just go off drops and hucks and just send it a little bit more. And it was so much more forgiving compared to when I was racing later in my career. I think I got up to 87 kilos, 87, 88. And you would feel through your bike when you would come up short or you'd hit something or you'd overjump something. So I've always been super interested to know, like Jackson would probably weigh like 60 something kilos. Like that's a lot less weight on a very similar bike. Like obviously suspension's the same, frames are obviously the size would be a bit different, but wheels are the same, everything else is the same. You're putting a lot of pressure through these bikes, and it's like if you were just I don't know what the weight gap would be on Jackson and Amaury, but I'm sure it would be a lot. And to think about, yes, that's going to benefit you at the top of the hill, holding speed, carrying momentum, stuff like that, but then how much that limits you at the bottom. Be super fascinating to work out, like, yeah, what the weight difference is and how much that actually, just say on like a straight, like momentum fall, what that would look like in terms of, like the momentum gained. Like if you put them both on the top of a hill and rolled them down, what would be the speed difference without pedaling or anything like that if you just tucked in? Because obviously you saw at the race in Poland how much Jackson fell back on Loic just through a flat bit where he couldn't pedal, he just had to carry momentum. So it's obviously a big deal. Notable things, they had some crashes. Remy Tiron had a big crash. I think he's all right. Also, Ronan Dan didn't have a crash, but he did not make it in because he blew his wheel off, his tyre off his wheel twice. So pretty wild to see that this already with the new qualifying system, that top guys that can win, that are right there, are having issues like that. And it's sad, but it's also like, it's racing. You gotta throw down. I'm honestly, I think it's a good thing that they're doing the non-protected. It's a lot more stressful, I will tell you that, but also everyone's in that same boat. And I think it just stops people from getting too far. I think it's going to even out the points, because I know when I was racing and I wasn't protected, I would always go easy in qualifying because I knew a safe run would get me in, but it wouldn't get me points. Where now you have to just go for it and no one's safe. So I think it actually is a much better thing, but yeah, it sucks if obviously you're on the wrong end of that. Lockie Stevens-McNabb had a crash in qualifying as well, which I'm annoyed about. I'm waiting for him to. Honestly, I'm just waiting for him to win a World Cup. I think he's just going to come out and win one, and it's just by a lot. So I think he's going to be up there. Ollie Davis had a crash in Q1 and then didn't make it into Q2, but he's all right as well. Another thing to note, I don't know if you guys saw, Jack Moyer had a massive crash in the Enduro he was racing, so healing vibes to Jack. He said he's nothing broken, but he's a bit beat up and a bit sore. But also Dan Booker got the win in Enduro, again, backing it up. Nicest guy in mountain biking, and it's cool to see when good people work hard at something and then not get rewarded, but they start to win. And then they get that feeling of winning and they know what it's like, and they, again, start to play that person that is that. They play the person that can win and they believe they can win, and then the momentum for that is so cool to see. So hats off to Dan as well. Let's have a look at the overall for the elite men. So we've got Amaury Pirion in first. We got Loic Bruni in second. And what's the point gap? 40 points. Jackson Goldstone's gone up to third. Ocean O'Callaghan was in fourth. I think he had an issue as well. Lucas Shaw was in fifth. Loris Vergier, sixth. Nathan, not going to try and pronounce his last name again, is in seventh, world's tallest man. Jordan Williams in eighth. Ryan Pinkerton in ninth. And T-Bro DePella in 10th. Also, Richie Rude was in 11th. I don't think he made it through either for qualifying. So it's just to go on the podium one weekend and then not even to make qualifying the next is it's pretty wild. But that's a sport we live in. Yeah, let me know what you guys thought, what you didn't like. I looked at the highlights. I didn't put commentary on it. It's a bit annoying. And I saw a lot of the runs they played. They seemed to miss things. So just Discovery not really killing it. Like, they're obviously trying to cut down on having so many riders so they can make a better broadcast, but it just seems like they talk a lot and then focus on other things that aren't the actual riders. So I don't want to hate on them too much because there's some stuff that's kind of cool, but it's just, yeah, it's a little bit painful. I want to know as well if anyone is at the races, if they feel like the atmosphere is less or more, because I'm hearing it's a lot less, but I don't know because I'm not there. So if anyone's got any intel, leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear about, and we'll keep these things going. I'm actually feel like I'm getting back into the racing a little bit more, and I think I even might go over later this year and try and do some interview stuff. So watch this space. But yeah, thanks guys. Talk to you soon.